Listening to this podcast right now! Do you want to hear a fucking podcast about anything and everything? Yeah. Like movies, music, television, and more?
Oh my god.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Yes.
Subscribe to Journey into Comics Network, and you get Podcastrophe, hosted by me,
Yes.
Dick. Why not throw a couple bucks to the Patreon? It's your choice. Yeah. This is a Podcastrophe.
That sounds so awesome.
The following is a Journey into Comics Network production. Good luck.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Game Addicts Podcast, the show where we talk about the modern and retro video games that we play and collect. I am your host, Nate. As always, today joining me, this podcast player too, AP. How's it going, man?
It's going great. How's it going, Nate?
It's crazy that we have... I just want to get right into this, man, because we've put a lot of work into the Game Addicts Podcast, and we're here at episode 75 to retrospect and reflect on our show and how great we are. And we're going to kind of go over some stuff people might have missed because, early episodes when people really weren't tuning into our show when we first started and whatnot. So it's going really good, man. I'm really excited to do this show with you today. But 75 episodes of our podcast is crazy. It's like I don't feel like I did any work to get here, and we're already here. You know what I'm saying?
I know, right? It just feels like we just started just the other day, and now here we are at 75. I'm as awed by this as you are.
It is very crazy. I feel like it's one of those things that sometimes when you're a podcaster and you're just doing a lot of different shows and whatnot, you get kind of wrapped up in, which show am I doing? What am I talking about? What am I doing? What are the topics, But today I feel like it's like Barry Allen fucked with the timeline because I feel this is right. I feel like we've done a lot of podcasts together. Something feels still a little bit weird, but that I digress. That doesn't matter. Today,
Right.
man, we're going to kind of talk about a lot of different things. We actually have an interesting past we've never discussed on this show, which is shocking. I can't even believe that we would be so foolish as to not tackle this, but we met because of a video game store.
We did. That was our first interaction. Like, literally, we met on two different sides of a counter, and the rest is kind of history.
I feel like I don't listen. I've lived a lot of life since 2007-ish. I think it was like mid 2007s when we met. But I will say that I do recall talking to you on several occasions. You would come in, you were looking for buying games and whatnot. I think I started to kind of talk you into some of the pre-orders that I knew were going to be amazing. I don't remember if I talked you into BioShock, but that's one that I was always proud to tell people, like, you need to fucking
Right.
check this game out.
I think Dark Sector was the big one you pushed that I ended up getting.
Oh, I loved the mechanic gameplay for the glaive in Dark Sector. Even though that game kind of gets shit on, first of all, you got to think, it was supposed to be a launch title for both those systems. It gets pushed back a year for the PlayStation, essentially 2.5 years for the Xbox 360. And then when it does come out, it's a little bit behind in the graphical times because stuff has already progressed ahead of it.
Right. I think you even had a hat with the Dark Sector glaive on it.
I do. I still have that still, and I actually have a necklace with the glaive keychain thing. It was
such a cool.
It was a cool mechanic, man. And it's funny because I think about that gameplay mechanic of the glaive and how much it's used in that game, and then you think about like Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham Origins with the Batarang. It's the same fucking mechanic.
It is.
It's just kind of different because of how the glaive responds to the surroundings and how it's more boomerang-like than the Batarang, which is kind of more you have to kind of force it to do what you want it to do when you're remote controlling it, But anyways, man, we met at GameStop, and I feel like there's probably it's weird because as an employee of GameStop, I have stories that you probably have never heard. And we'll get into those today. And as a customer, I'm sure you experienced things that happened in our store differently, you know?
Right.
So I want to know, is there any like one moment from our past in the era of GameStop, which was like a 2-year time frame, that sticks out to you? That's like, damn, that was a crazy moment that I'll never forget.
I think it would had to have been closing down the store with you. That's still probably up there. Like, hiding out until the very last moment when you guys all left.
Yeah.
And, like, staying in the store after you had closed and just hanging out in the background so I could stay out of the side of the cameras.
Absolutely, man. That was...
like, you can stay here. You just sit over here in this corner on the ground. Like, okay.
And wait until we tell you where to walk so we can leave the building, you know?
Right.
Man, those were good times, man. A lot of fun times were had in that place. I don't know if you ever knew this or not. We burned a puppet at GameStop by the dumpster.
Yeah, I don't know. How did you even end up with the puppet?
So, from what I remember, a customer just randomly, like, left it on the floor, and we had it for, like, 3 weeks, and no one came back to claim it. And it was like, okay, I don't want this fucking weird puppet type fucking... It was kind of like a Raggedy Ann doll puppet. Just
creepy.
It was very... Marionette, that's the word I'm looking for, not a puppet. Marionette, 2 different things. It had strings, right?
3...
Yeah, okay. So we have it, and one night, one of our former employees and I are closing, and my thought was like, well, let's just go throw it away. Just go put it in the dumpster. And he goes, no, let's fucking burn it. And for whatever reason, 19-and-a-half-year-old, 20-year-old me, or wherever the fuck I was at that time, was like, sounds like a great idea. Let's do it. This thing was putting off a humongous fucking flame. If any one cop would have drove by, they probably been like, the fuck y'all doing? Do I need to call your manager and see what the fuck is going on here? Luckily, that did not happen. Right? But that's not even, I mean, that's like a tamer story for that time. Another story that I think about that you probably don't know about, and this is a way more fucked up one. I feel like this deserves to go on something like Butt Stuff Podcast where they're a little bit more R-rated. But so one day I'm not at work. This is the craziest story I have because I was not at work. I'm sitting at home and I'm watching Doctor Who. This was my first watch through of the new era of Doctor Who right when I first became a fan. And I get a phone call, and it's Sarah. And there's disgust in the air. There's a little bit of giggling. You know, I'm not sure what's going on. So it comes to light that they had an older lady and her slightly younger daughter, who was still an adult at that point, come in and request to use the bathroom. There was not a public bathroom in GameStop, and the reason was not because we didn't want people to come and use the facilities because we were trying to be rude. Sometimes we actually kept game systems in the bathroom, which it was like our secondary system lock, you know? So I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, these guys, they came in, you know, they were asking about the bathroom. We said no, and then like they started to walk away. What's going on? You know, not really sure. And apparently this old lady shit on the floor at GameStop.
In the actual?
In the actual store, on the floor by the DS games. That's real. There was terror.
Like,
there was real terror in their voices. You could hear it.
Did she drop her pants and do
no,
it? Or
she
did
just let her roll, man.
And just rolled out of the bottom of her pants?
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Oh,
Never
yeah.
Oh.
So, like, they were getting disinfectant wipes and cleaners and all this stuff and feeling sick and had to shut the store down temporarily and stuff.
I mean, it's one thing if it's dog shit, but human shit on the floor, it's like, what do you do in that situation?
But not like, it wasn't like a solid, if you feel what I'm saying.
It was just there. It was like a cream on the ground.
God, that's the worst description you could say. A cream on the ground. No.
A pudding? Pudding better?
No, that's even worse. Okay. Anyways, let's get off this
Gotta
shit.
stop metaphor.
So, if you ever heard this other show that I host with the Journey into Comics, or actually the Foodies Watching Movies dude, Brando and I have done a couple shows together. And Brando and I were talking about the West story. Do you know the famous West story?
I know of Wes. I don't know of the West story.
Okay, so I guess this is actually more the infamous West story. Wes and I are going to get ready to close the store, and I think we closed at like 9, so it's like probably 7 at this time. And Wes is like, hey, Nate, check out this fucking cool Barbie phone I found on the ground. And he holds up this pink plastic Barbie cell phone. It's a flip phone, right? It's 2008, people. Didn't have fucking super smartphones like we do now. So it's this fake Barbie phone. Wes is like, why don't we break it? I was like, oh, that sounds funny. Haha, cool, great. I don't know why we were so destructive there at that time, but I guess we were kids, so that's what we were doing. Anyways, he throws it on the ground. It does nothing. He stands on it. It does nothing. He fucking throws it again. It does nothing. He smacks it on the counter. It does nothing. He can't break this fucking phone, and he's getting mad. So now it's become Wes's mission. No matter fucking what, he is determined. I'm breaking this phone. I'm going to figure it out. So he, I guess in some way he used a little bit of ingenuity. He looks at the system lock door. He looks at me. I don't hear him for a while. And he goes, Nate, come here. We have a problem. And I'm like, you have a problem? Did you fucking hurt yourself breaking the phone, you dumbass? He's like, nope, we got a bigger problem than that. And I was like, what is a bigger problem than this stupid fucking phone? What is going on? I walk over to the door that leads to the system lock where the door is off the fucking hinges. The door frame that is made of steel is bent because this Barbie phone still did not break. He put it in between the door and the door frame and tried to shut the door, and the door fell off the fucking thing. So now I'm in ultra panic mode. I'm like, oh no, what the fuck do we do? What do I do? What do I do? Like, I can't call my manager and be like, hey, Wes broke the fucking door. You can't just do that. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's like fucking, that's a death wish for him.
Who was the manager at the time?
Liz. It was Liz.
Okay.
Sarah's ASM, assistant store manager, and then I was third key. So, Wes, system lock door breaks, and I'm like, fuck. Okay, so emergency mode. I run over, I lock the door. We, at that time, had no customers. I lock the door, I bring the gate in, so it looks like we're closed. And I real quick write a note. Under emergency circumstances, we've had to close early. Please return tomorrow for blah, blah, if you're trying to pick this up, Because I literally cannot let anybody in our store because we literally have a security threat right now. People can walk in the back and they can just steal, So, okay, so we spend 3.5 hours.
So is this the door that goes between the main store and the back,
Yes,
or the
yes.
back door and outside? Okay.
No, that door, between the inside of the store and the back, right, which is the back of the store where System Lock and all that stuff is. System Lock, folks, is a separate door that's under lock and key at all time that has every system that GameStop sells. That way they can keep track of them and have their back stock and whatnot. And anyways, so Wes and I and Jeff Shedlock, I'm going to shout him out, we go 3.5 hours to fix this fucking door. We finally get it back on the hinges. And I'm actually pretty sure, even to this day, if you go to the Danville GameStop and you push that back door, it is going to open without a key because he broke it to where it will never open with a key. You don't need it. It will never lock. It is unlockable now. So, yeah, that's the famous West story. That was, a fun and very interesting time in our GameStop lives. Of course, not too much longer there. We departed from GameStop and went on different journeys. I'm curious, man. I need to know from you. All-time favorite video game. I don't think we've ever tackled that in 75 episodes of the... Oh, you know what? I think maybe back on episode 1 I asked you this question, but it's been so long, I'm sure people forgot. So fill them back in, man. Tell us about your favorite game of all time, why it's your favorite game, what drew you to it, memories, stuff like that.
All right, I think it's probably a tie. I think my all-time favorite video game series that I got into would have to be the Assassin's Creed series.
Ooh, Assassin's Creed.
Yes, it was... I found the first game, loved it, loved the open world aspect of that it was just... It was historical, but it wasn't... It just appealed to everything that I liked. And just being able to see that evolve and go through all these different characters, almost like a James Bondian. There was always a different assassin you were playing as, so it was...
Yeah.
Wide open.
That's actually a really good way to look at that.
And then the game that... I was actually thinking about this earlier. The game that I always fondly remember from, like, hanging out with friends and playing it, of, like, the newer system variety would have to be Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. Do you remember that game?
1 or 2?
I think it was 2.
Because that would have been Champions of Norath, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2?
Okay.
I think was
it was probably
those
both.
are 2 different games. Champions of Norath was a different game. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2 was a different game. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2, yes, I played the hell out of that game. I also recall that it's very expensive now on PlayStation 2. Like, it's probably over $100 for... actually, let me game eye that. have this handy dandy app that I use. I've been sharing it with everybody, including my buddy over at Foodies Watching Movies, Brando. I shared it with him and told him he should put some of his, he has a much smaller game collection than me. And
Right.
I just felt like it was a good thing for somebody who's a beginner collector to get in at the ground level, start putting his collection in there. It's nice because it updates you constantly with prices. You can keep a track of all your stuff. You can actually do barcode scanner, so you can go, oh, that's how much that costs.
So during all your outings, when you go to those resale shops, you can scan it, be like, oh, this is actually worth this much, and I can get it for
that much.
20?
Exactly. Yes, that's the way to do it too. So, I need to. I thought I had Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance too. I think I'm thinking of somebody else's collection. So I actually need to manually look it up. Baldur's Gate, BAULD, BALD. I'll just search Dark Alliance too. Dark. There we go. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2 on PlayStation 2 right now is in a mint condition $70. So it's not as much as it was. I think at one time when I worked at GameStop, it was maybe $115. It was pretty high up there.
Yeah, it's amazing the games that we loved when we were young and we owned it at one point, and now it's fallen out of the wayside. Now it's worth so much more money. It was when I go back and grab young you and be like, save this game. Don't throw it out.
There's actually one specific game when you say that I think of, and that's Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I still to this day don't know what happened to my original SNES cart of Zombies Ate My Neighbors. It's gone forever. I genuinely no idea if Mom sold it in a garage sale or if I sold it to a buddy when I wasn't really thinking about games or what, but it's gone and I don't have it, and that bums me the F out. So Baldur's Gate, huh? What drew you to that game as a kid the most? Was it the friend aspect of being able to sit down with a couple people and play with the?
Yeah, I think I loved just having you got 4 friends, or not 4 friends, you and 3 other people playing it, having the ability to. It was magic. It was medieval. It was just a lot of fun.
It was kind of a console. It's actually very much a console version of World of Warcraft, kind of before its time.
Yeah, really. And it's just there's so many pictures I have from birthday parties growing up where there's me and 3 friends laying on the floor with snacks around us just playing the game.
Hell yeah, that's incredible. I think about games like that, and I think party game when I was a kid that I played the most was Mario Party, the original. I mean, I've probably manned 200 plus hours playing Mario Party OG on N64. Another copy of a game that I don't have anymore that I have no idea. Actually, I think I do know what happened. That my N64 was lent to somebody that was in the back of their trunk, and then they never gave it back, and I have no idea where any of my shit is. So, gone forever.
I wish I would have kept my N64. I don't know, honestly, if I sold it or what happened to it. I know, actually, I sold my Game Boy, my original Game Boy Color, my purple clear one, to GameStop.
Oh, that's cool.
And probably made next to nothing off it in all the games, and I really wish I would have just hung on to it.
Oh, that actually makes me think. I'm wondering if maybe I traded in some of my N64 stuff to get my Slim PS2. Because I forgot I did that to get my first Slim. Because I didn't have a PS2 at all until the Slim model came out. And then I was like, I need to have a PS2. I'm sick of not having a PS2. I want to play all these cool games. God of War was out. God of War 2 was out. I was like, oh my God, I have to get this. So, yeah, I guess I probably did. I probably sold a bunch of my stuff to, it was actually EB or Babbage's, one of those two. But I don't think it was actually GameStop at the time. Little did I know it all. Also, I currently, in my games collection, I just want to share this with you guys. My collection report says I have 661 games.
Wow.
$10,162 in value across 23 platforms. That's why I love Game Addicts so much.
I don't think I'd even name 23 platforms. I probably could if I sat down and really thought on it.
Let's try. Let's see if you can. Just go old school. Think about it. And see how many we can get you through.
Okay, so I guess there's a lot more versions I'm thinking of. Because you have the Nintendo.
Yep.
The original Nintendo. Mm-hmm. The Super Nintendo. Or the SNES? Mm-hmm. Super Nintendo?
Yep.
Then you have... What did it evolve to from there? Then you have the N64.
Yep.
GameCube.
Yep.
Oh, then you're also thinking about the handheld games.
Yep.
So you have Game Boy Color,
yep.
Game Boy Advance,
yep.
Game Boy Advance. Was it SP?
Yep.
Then you went to the Nintendo DS.
DS Lite.
DS Lite. DS or 3DS, DSL? Did they have like a
DSi.
DXL?
DSi.
DSi.
Yeah, because
And
they
then-
had the
and then
like
that's-
camera on the DS that would do shit with
And
it.
that's just the Nintendo products. Then you
You're
have
like 12. So
12. Yeah, I could see getting there. And then you have all the stuff on Microsoft. I guess it's also counting PC games, which can be a mass.
you gotta.
Yeah, you could easily get to that.
You gotta. I'm very surprised you didn't talk about Sega at all yet. That's very shocking to me because there's several systems across Sega that you could name: Genesis, Master System, Saturn, Dreamcast.
I just remember the Dreamcast controller. It just was so unique at the time. It looked like a spaceship in itself.
You mean the Xbox controller prototype?
Actually, yes.
It is 100% the Xbox controller prototype, all the way down to the memory card being in the top of the thing.
You're right.
I mean,
that is true. I didn't think about it until just now, but you were completely right.
It's crazy when you think about it, man. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, speaking of Sega, though, have I told you my Sega story?
I don't think so.
Maybe I don't think it ever came up before because I hadn't thought about it until
Well, you know,
just recently.
On our show, we've done a lot of retrospectives. We've done PlayStation 1, we've done PlayStation 2, we did N64, we've done Xbox, we've done Game Boy for our 50th episode, all the handhelds for our 50th episode and whatnot. But we never have talked about doing anything Sega, so I don't think it's ever really come up. Not that we don't love Sega here, it's just, yeah, so please enlighten us on your Sega story.
Right, because did you have a Sega growing up?
You know, I didn't. My exposure to Sega was through my cousin. He did. He was a Sega fanboy through and through. So anytime I was over, Mortal Kombat, stuff like that, we were playing it. So I was exposed to it, but I never owned one.
Okay. Because how it was, at least in my house, I had an older brother, so obviously your parents aren't going to buy each of you a game system. We shared a room, so we had the Nintendo together, and then we had the Sega. We went from Nintendo to Sega. We didn't get the NES. We didn't go that route.
You mean the SNES?
Yes, the SNES, sorry.
You're all right.
So, I had a Sega Genesis, classic black one, top loader, had the fun games, had the Sonic, had the Knuckles expansion, you could stack it up.
Yeah.
The Knuckle, that was always fun. So, brother and I had the system, and we would play together and play with our friends and stuff, and we were two young boys, because I don't remember exactly the year the Sega Genesis came out. It's probably been
90, maybe?
20 years
91?
ago. Probably got it in the early to mid 90s, I was thinking.
Okay.
So I was very young. I was 5-ish, 6-ish. And I remember just having that room and then playing the game. And I remember I think it was always my brother's more than me. He was older, so he probably played it a lot more than I did at the time. And I remember there was, your kids, you leave crap out. So I think we had an ant issue. So we had ants in the bedroom that we had to deal with. And I remember spraying it and actually sprayed over the Sega and the controllers with, like, ant killer spray. I know, your face is just like, what are you doing? So, you know how that stuff... So, the Sega was fine, but, like, all the buttons on the controller got super sticky, so you couldn't do any button smashing anymore.
Yeah.
And my brother was pissed off. We couldn't clean it, because you can't do water, you can't do anything with that.
Hand sanitizer would have been the solution.
That would have worked.
Yeah, you guys were kids. You weren't thinking like that.
Right. So, ruined the Sega. So, I think my brother ended up, like, selling it off or something. I don't remember what he did with it. Many years later after, like, I had an N64 and he wasn't really into video games as much. But I made up for it it was probably 4 or 5 years ago now. I went to it's another local shop. It was Vintage Villains when they were in their old location.
The first location.
Yeah. I remember I saw a Sega Genesis they had on the shelf with, like, controllers, and then I got Sonic, the second Sonic game, and I got it, gave it to my brother for Christmas that year, and just, like, I know I ruined the first one, so here's another Sega for you, and it didn't have, like, the audio visual input. You had to run it through your coax. And
oh, damn. So it was old school.
So, old school. So, yeah, it was finally able to, like, make up for something I did as a young kid. And give him something that he still plays on occasion. So, it's always nice.
My curiosity is, it's weird. You're on a child of divorce. That's not a slight against you. But it's weird because N64 for Christmas, we got one at my dad's house and one at my mom's house. So we technically had two between my sisters. So we always had one. It was awesome. And really, actually, I feel like they both bought us two. I feel like we had a total of four. I can't really accurately remember that because I feel like if there would have only been one N64 in my mom's house between me and my sister to share, it would have been literally fucking war at that time in our lives. So I'm so blurry on some of those, some of those different thoughts here. Trying to think, man. It's wild doing a podcast for 75 episodes, and you put a lot of work into it. And a lot of time and effort goes into it. Obviously, people can check us out at the Game Addicts Podcast or at GameAddictsPodcast.com and on all the different, social media sites, Game Addicts Podcast, or on all the different, podcasting platforms, whether it's iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music. We are on Spotify. Also, check out our sister site, Journey Into Comics Network, at JourneyIntoComics.com with all their stuff. That was just a little quick, cheap plug to get it out of the way here, folks. Before we move into another part of this show today, which is going to be reflecting on this show. We've done a lot of episodes, and we've talked a lot of stuff. And I'm just going to kind of run through and reminisce a little bit here and there about some of the things we have done in 74 episodes. Maybe we should have done the Game Addicts retrospective on 76, because then we could have talked about all 75, but I digress. Anyways, man, it's weird. You think about when we started and all the way back at, I can't remember what was the first episode titled? Oh, Our Journey Begins. That was a clever thing that we did because it was like tying into Journey into Comics because we're, clever like that. Were there any specific episodes you remember throughout our history of doing the show that really stick out? I mean, obviously we did like the Nintendo Switch review with Silent Rob, and that was a lot of fun, and like I said, we've done a lot of retrospectives. I think that's kind of our jam here.
Yeah, I think my favorite has to be the handheld retrospective. It was just such fun to do, and there's just so many to talk about. I really like digging deep in on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What episode was that? 50?
Yeah, we did all the handheld Nintendo handhelds for 50.
Yeah, that's right.
Game Boy, a retrospective. And who can forget, all the different guests we've had on here. Shout out to, Mike and Silent Rob and Tyler and Blaine and Brando has appeared on here. Sarah from Walk Among Us and the Pod Mother of the Journey into Comics Network has appeared on our show. I feel like there have been, surprise appearances by Padfoot, the dog. I mean,
Yeah. Gotta love when that guy shows up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you and I slang on this show. So in 2017, because that's the year we just got out of, or really, actually, we could guess a little bit in 2018 here, because I want to kind of jump around. Yeah, we're going to kind of reflect about our show a little bit, but in reflecting, I just thought about this question. Have you bought any recent games? We typically do pickups at the front of the show, and we kind of forgot. Do you have any recent game pickups that we can discuss?
I haven't. I'll let you go first because I still haven't really. I have to think back now because there hasn't been really a game that I picked up. I think the last game that I got that I was super into was Assassin's Creed Origins, which I think was technically a 2017 release.
Well, I mean, I would count that too because it's something you recently picked up regardless.
Right.
I mean, the last 3 games I've picked up, because, I've had to really pump the brakes on collecting. You get a little crazy there for a while. You amass a big collection. You want to try to collect everything, and then you go man, maybe I shouldn't spend all this dollars. So I pumped the brakes a little bit here. Obviously, I've been getting into collecting vinyl. But the last 3 games that I purchased, South Park, The Fractured But Whole. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Okay.
And Assassin's Creed Origins, which I still have not yet played, but I'm excited to play, as Assassin's Creed is also one of my favorite games. And that can actually kind of tie us right back to discussing Assassin's Creed.
Right. I think you're probably... Wasn't your one of your favorite the Batman Arkham? We talked about it a little bit when we were talking about Dark Sector, but
yeah, I love the Batman games. I think everything that Rocksteady did was phenomenal. And you think about The Origins game is different because Warner Brothers Studios put it out, and it's not quite a Rocksteady game. You can tell it's like compartmentalized. Obviously, it's a prequel to the story. So if you're playing, even though you don't want to ever go to the second to most recent game to play first and then build the story, if you really wanted to do it chronologically, that's how you would do it. But, I mean, I have every collector's edition of all 4 of the Arkham games because of how much I love that series, you know?
Right, and you've worked through the Telltale game series, too.
Nope, not yet. I have it downloaded. I just haven't started that one yet because I still have the Guardians Telltale to beat.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So, I mean, I feel like I have a lot on my plate in that regard. I just started Lego Marvel Superheroes. It's technically the first game I ever 100%ed was the first Lego Marvel Superheroes, even though history will let you know that I beat Bully, 100%ed Bully, and then motherfucking Xbox did not give me the 100% completion achievement. Although I had all the achievements, the only achievement I did not receive was the 100% completion achievement with 100% of things done.
That's not even fair. I loved Bully, though. Bully was such a fun game. I remember playing it after I played Grand Theft Auto, and it was just like taking the whole world and just condensing it down to a boarding school.
I love it, and I love the different mechanics that they utilize in that game. Going to classes, doing different responsibilities, having to ride your bike around and accomplish things.
Right.
That game is so much fun. You know what other game I've been playing a fuck ton of lately, and I didn't actually buy this through giftage. Sarah's brother gifted her a computer for Christmas. On that computer, he had created a shared account for his Steam. It's like a family shared account thing you can do.
Oh,
so we have
cool.
access to all of his games. There was only one game in his entire 600 and something odd games of library that I was like, I have to play this now immediately, and I don't give a fuck about anything else. Cuphead.
I think I remember you talking about this.
If you have an Xbox One or if you have a Steam account, I highly recommend you get Cuphead. It is amazing. Original. Okay, first of all, let me say that every frame of the game is 100% animated. And I mean that by 100% animated like they did in the 30s. It looks like Steamboat Willie or, your early Mickey Mouse back in the day for Disney, as it were. That old style of animation holds true. The soundtrack holds true. It has some ragtimey feels, a lot of that like chaotic, hectic, weird, but also very groovy music that just kind of flows through. It's spectacular. It's very difficult. It's very legitimately challenging because everything you do in the game is just boss battles. No bullshit. Everything is a boss fight. Every boss has at least 3 forms. So you got to learn how to survive the first one, and then as soon as you figured out, I can survive the first one, the second one is totally different. And then as soon as you figured out the first and the second one together, you got to figure out the third one. So sometimes you play a level 100, 200 times without winning because it's difficult, and they have a lot of different, it's cool because there are some levels where you're like flying as a plane character instead of being your Cuphead character. But I love it, man. If you have an opportunity to download it, if you ever see it on sale on anything, or when the physical copies start rolling out, which I think comes sometime this year, they're supposed to be doing that. Definitely pick yourself up a copy. I don't think you'll be disappointed with it at all.
Definitely. And you mentioned physical copies. I know you're a really strong proponent of physical copy over downloaded copy when it comes to video games.
Absolutely. And if you look at it's weird because I'm going to ask a curious question to you that's almost a retort to what you just said. So the first thing I want to say is yes. Am I a proponent of having physical copies over digital? 100%. Because what happens if one day they decide the internet's not something you can just buy? What if they decide, I don't want you to have access to these games anymore. We're closing our company down that has all your libraries. We're going to shut the cloud down that has all your data. Or whatever. You never know what the crazy shit's going to happen in this world. Physical copies ensures that no matter what, if I want to go play Bully on 360, I can just pop it into my 360. It's not a big deal. If I want to go play a Super Nintendo game, I can go find it, put it in. It's not a big deal. Yeah, what if you don't have the game? You want to fucking play it? You can download it. Yeah, I'd rather have a physical copy, though. I'd rather go hunt for a physical copy so I can have it in my collection to display and show my friends, like, check this cool fucking Turtles in Time out. That's one I don't have, unfortunately. But,
Right. Like, that's, like, one thing. Like, I remember, actually, when I got my Xbox One, I got the Assassin's Creed version, which I think it was Syndicate at the time. Maybe not Syndicate, the one
Rogue?
before Syndicate.
Or Black Flag.
No, it would have been after that. I think it was the one that it was during, I think, the Renaissance. Not the Renaissance. The French Revolution.
Is that Rogue?
No, it wasn't Rogue. It might have been Syndicate.
Okay.
And I remember it came with a digital copy of it. And I was like, great, but I didn't want it. So I eventually found a good deal and ended up buying the physical copy because I just liked having... I'm much of a display person. Like, as much as you are with all of your games, I gotta have them physically out there. If I was showing someone a digital collection of what you have doesn't seem to bring me as much joy as like someone being like, wow, that is a lot of stuff right there.
Yes, exactly. Showing off, like, and especially, like, I would say more so with your movie collection over your game collection, it is a big deal because you can be like, check out all those fucking cool movies I have. Look at the cool things you can watch here. And I love that, too, like, because you can't take that away from you. Those movies...
It's like someone's like, well, yeah, you could, like, condense them down to a binder. I'm like, but then it's a binder. Like, oh, look at all of my movies I have in this binder. But no, it's like being able to see it. You can actually see the magnitude of it. You can't be like, oh, maybe there's some blank pages in there. It doesn't feel as... It's not as showy, which I don't think is what I'm intending to do, but it's just kind of how it is.
It doesn't carry as much weight, too. Also, it's just nice. I love displaying things nicely, and I'm very OCD about that. As you guys know on the show, you've heard me talk about it 100,000 of times. I'm an A through Z type of guy, and within your A through Z, I'm also chronologically organizing those things every time because I just want to know, like, you know, oh, cool, well, I've got all these games, but, you know, I don't really have them in the right order. I hate that. How can you find any of your shit? You guys spend half the time looking for it.
Alphabetical is the way to go. I mean, chronologically is a whole other level, but at least that's just how I think about my movies. If I try to chronological my movies and alphabetize them, it would be a mess.
Well, I mean, movies are a little bit harder to chronicle like that and alphabetize with when they released. CDs are more where you can chronicle a band. You say, okay, I alphabetize by band name, Metallica. They're in the M's. So within the Metallica, what's their discography in order? Well, you can't just assume that, like, on digital stuff, that you can, like, say, Kill 'Em All is number one. So I actually change every single thing I put into a computer into a numbered code and then the name of the album within a band's catalog so it can be in order.
There you go.
Yeah.
That makes it so much more easier.
I mean, I think so. Maybe it's convoluted, but I digress. I'm trying to think, what do we want to also discuss here? There's a lot of different places we could go today. It's our 75th episode. I feel like we don't have streamers or anything or party balloons, so we really can't do that. Maybe we should just wrap it up and never do this show again. I don't know. How are you feeling? What are you feeling like doing? Do you have any crazy stories, anything that we can talk about within the gaming world that we haven't yet discussed?
Trying to think here. I guess what game was the hardest for you to play? Of recent, we probably touched on this before, but it's kind of foggy in the back of my head here. I'm trying to think, what was the game that you played and like you played and you just couldn't get through it?
Oh man, honestly, there's only one game like that, and I'm kind of sad to say this because it's within one of my favorite gaming franchises. And maybe I'm just dumb, and I've actually considered like going back and starting it all over again. But I couldn't beat Halo 4. I stopped. I got into this one spot, and for whatever reason, I tried it probably 300 times, and I just died the same every time. And I would try it different ways. The same dude would fucking kill me. I would try it a different way and sneak, and that other dude would kill me. And these big dudes with hammers would come and fucking smash me off the fucking platform, and like I'm not sure where to go. And I'm kind of a stickler. I don't like to just go online and say, "How did you beat this, motherfuckers?" Like I want to pride myself in trying to do it myself first, but that one beat me. And of course, another thing to talk about is that was at a time where I was really over first-person shooters as well, and it was kind of just a chore to play. I haven't touched a first-person shooter in about 2 years at this point.
Oh, wow.
So most everything I play now is third-person. I like a lot of the more action-y games. Assassin's Creed is fun because it's roaming around. Your South Park-type games are more fun because it's more story-oriented. Lego is kind of the same way. Plus, you can't die in Lego, which is nice. Yeah, man.
I just remember God of War for me. Like, the first God of War being so many times you'd get so far into it and you would fail and then have to go all the way back and play through it to get to that point.
Secretly, and this is maybe something we never did, maybe one day later down the road if we don't quit the Game Addicts podcast after this episode, we can do like a God of War retrospective. my favorite overall game series, right, is God of War. Because, well, I guess that's hard to say because Ascension was not good in my opinion, but I digress. But the thing that I really, really, really loved about the first God of War is, yes, it was very difficult. And it was a whole new style of gameplay. You got to think there weren't any real games like that out at the time that had all those mechanics. I mean, there was swimming mechanics, running mechanics, the Blade of Chaos mechanics. All those different things were kind of happening, how you could use your powers in the air and all that stuff,
Yeah, that was fun.
I devastated the first God of War. I loved that game so much. I beat the shit out of it. I don't know, do you know about the David Gaffey thing in the first God of War?
No, you have to refresh me on that.
Okay, so when you're in the last level and you finish this part with the harpies where you have to like go uphill and the thing's pushing you downhill and the harpies are fucking attacking you, when you get done with that, you're at this stairwell. There are 2 massive gargoyles. And it tells you, hey, if you go through this stairwell, you're at the end of the game. You're going to go fight Ares now. It's time, right? If you don't go fight Ares right away and you stay in that area and beat the shit out of those gargoyles for probably 15 minutes, both of them will eventually break, giving you tons of orbs that are your, different energy things and giving you more points and whatnot. And also it will give you a phone number where you can call, and the dude who created God of War is like, hey, you found the Easter egg. Great job. Here's Kratos to talk to you for a minute. And there's like a voiceover of Kratos talking, So it's a really cool thing, man. I genuinely loved that game. I love the second one. Curiosity, what was the hardest part for you in the first God of War? Because I know there's one part for me that was so difficult, which is when you're swimming and you're trying to escape a thing, and there are these fucking things coming at you that'll push you back and kill you, and you have to, like, swim into these canals and wait while the thing goes through and then get back into the water and swim really fast and then dive back into the canal and the thing goes through. It's like repeating that consistently.
Actually, I think that was the scene. I just remember that might have been the part that threw me off so much. But I remember I revisited it not all that long ago because I think one of the last games I actually purchased at GameStop, which I think it's been years since I actually went into the store and bought something. I think it was the 3-pack or like the 3 games in the one set.
Mm-hmm. Got a War collection.
Yes, because I wanted that. I think I got Ascension. I don't think I actually have played Ascension yet. It's just sitting on my shelf, just taunting me.
It's funny that we're talking about this because I feel like April 20th, which is right around the corner, the next God of War game comes out. I'm so excited already.
Yeah, the previews I've seen for that, it just looks like it's a whole nother... Like, is it made by the same people?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that maybe David Gaffey is attached to it. I'd have to probably... Let me actually look that up right now while we're talking here on air. Because I'm not sure.
Definitely.
I'm uncertain if he's attached to that.
So I'm pretty sure I bought the God of War collection and the Ratchet & Clank collection at the same time. Just because I had to revisit both of those games that I loved so much on earlier consoles.
Okay, so it does release April 20th. Santa Monica Studios is going to be developing it. They did the PSP games, God of War Origins and Chains of Olympus.
Right.
I think they also did Ascension 2 as well. I think they also were a part of that here. I'm trying to see if Jaffe or Gaffey, however you say his name, is attached to it. It doesn't look like he is. Santa Monica Writers, yeah, he's not attached to it. So the original dude that created the God of War story is not a part of this. But God of War 4 is a new direction for the series based loosely on Norse mythology. He has Kratos returns as the main character, now having a son called Atreus. Kratos acts as a mentor and protector to his son and has to master the rage that has driven him for many years into it.
Yeah, that actually sounds kind of awesome. And it's probably all the major consoles right now?
Yeah, at least PS4. I know that for sure. But it's probably a PS4 exclusive, actually. I don't think there's ever been a God of War game on an Xbox.
No. As much as I would like it. That's one thing. I almost wish I could go back and get a PS4 of an Xbox One. It's a torn thing for me because I really love my Xbox One. But I feel like a lot of people I know got into PS4 for the gaming. And ever since I saw that the new Spider-Man game is going to be a PS4 exclusive, I was just like, oh, I made such a mistake.
Error. That's another game I'm so excited for this year. I would say the next 2 games I'm going to pick up are God of War 4, I guess you'd call it, technically. Even though it's just called God of War. There's no number, title, nothing. It's just God of War.
loosely based on the previous franchise.
Yeah, it's essentially a reboot, but maybe not quite. Also, here's a thing we can tackle, and maybe we can switch this and throw this over to the Nor Rapport, where they talk about it, injustices of the world and stuff. My thing is this. I saw a thing recently where a guy was being awful online because he was demanding that people give him an explanation of why Kratos can't be played by a black man, right? And it doesn't. I don't think it matters who is the character of Kratos, like who plays that character. The person was not arguing that fact. They wanted Kratos to not have the white ash that created his whole fucking story. That's the ash of his family. That is literally him wearing the shame of the mistake that he created. They wanted him to just be a normal black dude with a red stripe. And I'm like, no, you're missing the point. That is you missing the point, and it's blatant that you're missing the point.
Right. I mean, the whole origin. I remember the epicness of the original games when he's coated with the ash and comes out of it and realizes it's all over. It almost throws you back to the movie The Gladiator with his whole family, and just it gives you a mission. When you constantly look at yourself like this, it keeps bringing you back. It keeps the fire alive. The reason you're doing all this.
I'm trying to think. 2005 was when the first God of War came out. How old were you in 2005?
I was 15.
Okay, that's an interesting question. So did you play the sex mini games in God of War when you were 15? Busted. Yes. Busted. Everybody's busted.
Those digital boobs, right?
Correct. The digital Medusa-y boobs. It's funny. I actually glitched out the first God of War to beat that game. And I don't know if I've ever told that story either. I feel like we're just kind of breaking this into the God of War retrospective right now out of nowhere. But we're trying to get a lot done in not a lot of time today. You never know when we won't be back. So the first God of War, the final battle is Ares, okay? You fight Ares at normal size, and then you get as big as Ares and fight him again. You go through like the spirit world, and there's like this whole thing where you're fighting different versions. I think your child and your wife show up in that scene. And you have like the death of Hades that you throw, the purple thing. Yeah. Right? So if you time it right, when you're at that final thing, when there's like I think it's Kratos fighting Kratos, right? And he's like throwing lightning at himself and
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the end of that, if you can time it right, and as soon as you beat the last Kratos, immediately throw the death of Hades, it will trigger into the final battle with Ares and start him with half health.
Wow.
Yeah. And you just fucking wreck him. And it's so much easier. If you start him with full health and he gets to the end, he most likely outruns you. But if you start with that little bit of an advantage, steamroll him. I've done it like 3 times because I beat the game probably a total of 5 times. A couple times I just did it, just down and just doing it. But it works. It's cool. You can do it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pick that game. I feel like it's been a while since I've actually picked up and played a game. I think the last game I played, just because I think it was the Star Wars game, the new one.
Oh, Battlefront 2?
Yeah, I don't have online right now, but I was playing through the story mode, and I think I just wanted more from it. It's an interesting story. I just didn't get far enough to really. It also was kind of challenging.
I was gonna ask you to borrow that, and then I just realized that I can't put your Xbox One version of that game into my PS4, and it'll work. It won't.
You just.
It would be fucking creepy if it did, though, right?
It's all the same.
It just starts up like
they've just been
Xbox
lying to
One.
us.
Yeah,
they're just lying to us that the games were never.
You know what? I have some important video game news we need to cover before we get out of here as well. I don't know if you saw this.
Definitely.
Do you know about this Ninja guy?
Ninja guy?
Yeah,
no.
He's a streamer. He streams Fortnite, that new game that just came out.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see about the stuff that went down with him?
No, you have to fill me in here. I feel like this lately I've just been a little out of the news game.
In games, I know, me too. But here's the thing, man. So this guy has been making a killing doing this Twitch streaming, right? He Twitch streams Fortnite, and he's good, and he's funny, ha ha ha, whatever. He was singing a song, I guess, last night while he was streaming. He dropped an N-bomb in a song that doesn't have an N-bomb. Here's the thing. It's unclear if he actually said it because it kind of muffles. You can't really tell if he fully says it, like and he can't really. it could be inferred there. It's not like he clearly says it. He doesn't say it with like anger. He isn't saying it towards somebody or because he's mad at the game. Literally, dude was singing. Maybe on his own free time he drops that line because he's got some, whatever street cred or whatever you want to have. But there have already been massive repercussions, man. People are freaking out on this dude, and he's already made a public apology and been like, look, I shouldn't have said it, regardless of what the reasoning was. My fuck up. So It's pretty cool to see that he owned up to it. The other dude, that wasn't a video game dude, was it? That was that Logan Paul guy.
Yeah, I was about to say that it's like the Logan Paul effect. Like, you do something that seems like it's just these personalities that are just people who somehow got famous for just doing what they were doing.
Exactly, and they don't think about how much weight their words carry until they carry a word like that, and they're like, oh, bring it back. I can't, you know?
Like, I was in Naperville. I was running errands, and there was like this long line for something. I was like, oh, what's this line for? And it's like, oh, this YouTube celebrity is here shooting something. I was like, who? Never heard of this person. But there was like a line halfway down the block. I'm like, why are you all lined up to see this random kid? Like, I don't get...
It's fucking dumb. You know what you should have done? Been like, I'm an internet celebrity too, bitches. Here's my card. And Game Addicts podcasted them all across the board. You know?
Yeah. I have to start running.
Like,
but it's like the mix of ages was like, there were older people, there were kids. I'm like, what does this person even do? Like, I don't understand the appeal.
You don't happen to remember their name, do you?
No, it was not a memorable name. Nothing jogged anything. I was just like, oh, okay, moving on.
Dumb.
Back to my life. Yeah.
Fucking dumb. Anyways, bro. Well, I think we are, nearing the end of our show here today. I just want to say, man, it's been a pleasure to do 74 episodes of Game Addicts Podcast alongside of you and make all the incredible memories we've made together on this show. I feel like, if we never do if next week you never hear from us again, folks, this has always been a blast for us. It's always been fun for us to host podcasts in this regard. So, was there any closing statements you wanted to throw our way before we officially get out of here, my dude?
I don't think it felt like the past 34 episodes didn't happen. It just feels like we've been in this groove so well that it just feels like it's all one episode for us.
It really does feel that way. And, I'm kind of cool with that because it just kind of keeps it loose and it keeps it fresh. It keeps it new. If it doesn't feel old, it'll never be old. So
right. That's just how we're going to keep it doing it. And hopefully we can, if this is our last one, so be it. But I feel like we can make this through the long haul.
I do too, man. I'm hopeful that we hit that episode 100 in September. That would be a great, great accomplishment. I know the Game Addicts, or not the Game Addicts, we are the Game Addicts, but I know that the Journey into Comics guys, Dick and Nick, they're at 185 or some shit. I don't know how they podcast that long. It's like they started back in 2014 or some shit.
Man, those guys are just kids. Yeah, I can't believe they've been doing it so long.
Yeah, that's wild, man. But I don't think I really have anything else left today to say. AP, you?
No, I am good.
All right, folks. Well, as always, I said it earlier, check us out on all the stuff that I said to check out. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Game Addicts Podcast. As always, I'm Player 1 Nate.
And I'm Player 2 Andrew.
Game over, folks. We'll see you later.